Welcome to Conjure the Cocktail. I'm Angela Lovell, and I'm a little bit witchy. No, I'm a little bit boozy.
You're a lot of it witchy.
I'm a lot witchy. Not boozy enough.
No. And I'm Prairie Rose, and I'm a little bit witchy. I'm a lot of bit boozy. And
Yes.
I am a booze writer, and I have a podcast, and I am a spirits and cocktail expert.
Yes, you're all the best things. Today, we're going to talk to you guys about protection. It's a super weird time right now, and it's a great time to feel safe. So the world is changing, and it's going to be great. Just keep staying open to that change. 2021 is going to be the year that we all wanted 2020 to be, and we'll look back and be like, wow, that was great. It really hurt while it was happening, but now we're here in a utopian future.
Change is painful, right?
Change is painful, yes.
Yeah,
but it's all gonna come out in the wash, but better. We needed a big cleanse. I don't want to say purge because that conjures images of the purge, which my brother keeps saying we should watch, and I'm like, I'm not watching that right now.
No, I don't want to watch that movie.
No, hell no. So Prairie and I both got a hold of some really great ingredients for protection and courage and bravery, and we're going to tell you two different concoctions. One that you put in your yard, preferably bury it in the ground. If you live in an apartment, you can put it in a potted plant, as I have done with all the potted plants around my apartment building. and Prairie's got, did we name this cocktail?
We haven't named it. We're going to have to come up with something around protection. And I'm not sure. I thought about that right before we started recording. I was like, oh shoot, we don't have a name. But
the world is very distracting right now. And I think we have a good excuse. I mean, the fact that we're throwing this together is, I'm just not throwing it together.
Right.
No, this is actually an episode we've wanted to do for a while.
It's true.
So do you want me to start with witch jar?
Yeah. Why don't you do the witch jar, and then I can lead us into the cocktail.
Okay. So great news. We are both using ingredients that you can use for both of these things. So you want to get some thyme, some grapefruit. Those are the ones that are going to be in both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thyme and grapefruit.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for a witch jar, let me see. I actually prepared my thoughts so I wouldn't be too scatterbrained. So it's a magical tool used for centuries. Anytime you've watched one of those crazy shows where there was somebody just recently who thought it was a bottle of wine and drank.
Right.
And
which is so stupid.
Why would you drink anything you found in the ground that's hundreds of years old?
It's a really ancient bottle, clay bottle. I think I'm going to drink it and see what's in there. You fucking idiot.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's rusty nails and a lot of really
urine.
Okay. And yes. And here's the thing about a witch jar. If you're already saying to yourself, this is not for me, they help you feel strong and powerful and protected. When you make a witch jar, you will say to yourself, this is one of the craziest things I've ever done. If you're watching this, you're probably just starting out. The seasoned witches have tons of witch jars in their yard, probably in the yards of people they love as well, which I'm up to right now. So when I make a witch jar, I like to think about that man hundreds of years from now who digs it up and takes a sip. But they would not of mine, because mine are actually clear jars. And you can see the crazy shit that's in them. But for me personally, I want my witch jars to be so freaky that nobody's going to open them. You really want to scare people with your witch jar, because if it's opened later, I mean, granted, you've moved on to another place at this point, hardly matters. You don't want anybody to open these jars. You are putting your special essence and magic into them, and they need to be locked down and powerful. But I do like the motivation of freaking somebody out when they dig it up. So for witch jars. Oh, and the first one, the oldest one that they found in America was found in Pennsylvania, and they think it was buried in 1748. Isn't that amazing? I know.
Do you think it was like a Dutch witch?
Probably. I mean,
probably European.
Yeah, definitely European. They brought that shit over here. Yeah.
The indigenous people had their own witchy shit.
Oh yeah. They were, beyond. So The fun thing about this is even non-witches used to make witch jars to ward off witches. And it's funny because it's like they would take it from
That's so
witches.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
And
believe in this, but I'm going to do it
uh-huh.
anyway
Yep.
because I
Yep.
kind of believe
Exactly.
in it.
Yes, exactly. And they also, people used to be really scared of Samhain, of Hallows Eve, Halloween, because that's when the
Mm.
veil is thinnest. It is true that all the dead have easy access to us then. But today, so they also used to call them witch bottles. So when you see,
Mm.
these bottles that they find, like that guy who took a swig, it was from a bottle. It was very creepy. But you want to use a jar because it's easier to access the jar. I'm trying not to spoil it, but I am going to ask you to pee in this, and it's going to be way easier to pee in this than a bottle. So there's your spoiler. I'm going to ask you to pee in a jar. You don't have to. There are other options. But if you're not willing to pee in a jar, then like how far do you expect to go? You know what I mean? Like, this is witchcraft. So so the whole purpose,
That's the least you could do, people. Pee in a
the
jar.
least you can do is pee in a jar. And I mean, some of us do way worse, trust me. So way worse, I would say way stronger. I don't want to be negative about witchcraft. So anyway, it's so funny. The Crooked Path in
Oh, yeah.
Burbank. So
Yeah.
Sal, the owner, he has said before, he's like, every time I hang out with you, you bring up your menstrual blood. It's like, we're always talking about witchcraft. So it's not like I'm just like trying to talk about my period all the time.
Where's the
Okay.
lie?
Where's the lie? So this is about protecting yourself, empowering yourself. The whole concept, and you'll learn this from the ingredients, is to, if anybody gossips about you or sends hate your way, the items in this jar will bounce it back and send it right back to them. So they will suffer the consequences of their negativity. It's like whomever, whatever is coming at you, a witch jar is designed to protect you. So, okay, here's where we're going to start. Try to ideally use a jar. Like you bought pickled beets and you're just going to save the jar from that. That's great. You really want a jar with a metal lid because you're going to burn a candle on top of it, and you want to get it all goopy with wax, like very old-timey witchcraft looking. You ideally will, and it's actually harder than you would think to find broken glass and a broken mirror. But crazy enough, every single time I have a witch jar that I'm about to put in the ground, a glass breaks around me. My brother and I were watching a horror movie 2 nights ago, and it was 2 nights. It was one night before the full moon, and I was like, I still don't have any broken glass, and a candle burst, and all the glass shot out.
What?
So yeah, and another time, somebody clipped the mirror on my car, and all the glass was all the mirror was in the street. And at first, I was like, God damn it! And then I was like, oh, tomorrow's a full moon. I need all that broken mirror. So it was like,
How convenient.
Only $40 to get all that mirror replaced. So if you can't get broken glass, it's not the end of the world. Ideally, you're going to buy, you can even order them online from the Crooked Path, the place I just mentioned in Burbank. You're going to get coffin nails. And these are exactly what they sound like. These ones are pretty dirty. This is a coffin nail. It's super creepy. If you dug up a jar and it had this in it with pee and maybe menstrual blood, you'd be totally creeped out. But
so they're coffin nails. So you can order these online?
Yes. And you want to get them from an actual witchy, somebody who's like getting the real deal. And preferably like antique, is best. These you can actually, after you put which we'll get to this when you bury your witch jar, these you can drive into the ground and set up a barrier around wherever you live. And they kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? They like carry the energy of the witch jars throughout the barrier, almost like an invisible electric fence that keeps your dog in. It's like, I did this all over Echo Park, and I felt so safe in my neighborhood. It was amazing. And I mean, anybody who tries this, you will feel the same way. You will be like, I don't know. And then you'll feel it. It's very powerful. So you got your jar, you got your creepy little coffin nail. We are going to put a grapefruit peel in this. And grapefruit, do you have a bunch of stuff you want to say about grapefruit, magical or?
Some magical properties. So grapefruit in general is about cleansing to the aura and mental body. It helps release confusion and mental chatter. There's a lot of protection around grapefruit.
Yeah.
And once we sort of clear that mental chatter, we can be more receptive to our inner voice and intuitive
Yes.
powers, right?
Yes. I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's great for confidence and joy and just, I mean, that's why when you have like a room spray of grapefruit and you spray it, it's just like, I have energy. Um,
And it helps to
grapefruit soap.
restore your own power and
Yes.
claim
Yes.
your own spiritual purpose.
hmm And
So
if
I love
you,
that.
yes, if you want to take it up a notch, get pink grapefruit, which is good for protecting love, family, fertility,
Hmm.
lust, and sex. So if you're like someone's coming for your partner, get it. Like, oh, and that's another thing. So I I'm staying with my mom right now, and locking down her property unbeknownst to anyone. Yesterday I buried 10 rose bushes. 10 rose bushes. My lower back hurt so bad, but I also planted 4 witch jars. And you might be saying, you haven't been there that long. Maybe I brought witch jars across country with me that I was waiting to bury in Echo Park. But now, like, this property is locked down. So doing them here, I will go sneak and take hair out of her hairbrush and put that in here. You want to put your own hair in
Oh,
here. I go and I pull fur out of all my pets and put it in my witch jar.
okay.
Pretty much anybody you want to protect. I clipped all my fingernails into the last one I did. And then, okay, so here's some other things. We're going to put thyme, which is also in our cocktail. Do you want to talk about
Right.
thyme too, Prairie?
Yeah, sure.
Or do you have
Some
stuff
of
about thyme?
I know, yeah. So time, it represents, so a lot of ways you could use it in spells or witchcraft. Is around bravery. It helps ease your grief, let go of the past. It also honors the dead. You can include this on your, it is a part of like sea witch stuff. Like I'm
Yeah.
not, you probably know more about this than I do. You can include it on your sea witch altar. It chases out bad vibes. And it attracts prosperity. So, but I love the whole bravery and
Yeah.
easing your grief and honoring the dead part, because especially right now, and
Oh, yeah.
what's going on in our world, and George Floyd and the protests that are coming out of the grief and you know, it's a collective grief that is being shared by all of us now in a way that has shifted, that we're, I feel like it's finally, there's some sort of shift happening in the universe all around the world. It's
Yeah.
happening.
It's just really kicking off too. I've been
Yeah.
saying this for a while, but yeah, 2020 is just raring up to go. So all the reason more you should be drinking this cocktail and putting sea salt, which creates a
Right.
protective barrier, into your jar.
I've got sea salt
It's just,
too.
oh, good.
Yeah. Putting
Yeah,
that in the cocktail.
it's just like you can go find other ingredients too. We'll do
Mm-hmm.
another episode where we do sugar jars, which is still kind of like a witch jar, but with
Mm.
to draw things to you instead of
Mm-hmm.
bouncing. I mean, I got one of those buried underneath my bedroom window at my mom's right now. So, yeah. Okay. So anyway, ingredients. You put
Yes.
all this in here. You can go big with this, and I like to do it on a full moon. I like to take a bath, and I like to put these ingredients in the bath.
Mm-hmm.
And I always write this while I'm in the bath, but you want to write a petition, and it's basically all the things you want to keep out and the feeling you want to keep in. And
Mm-hmm.
you want to write it. Can you see this? You want to write it in the round. So you
Oh,
start
I see how
and
you're writing it. Yeah.
yeah, and you just go
That's cool.
around. And then in the very middle, you save your big word. Like you just keep going, and then you'd write like protection, in caps across. So
Ooh.
if anybody is working with sigils or into sigils, you can find one. You can make your own, which I love when people do. And you want to draw your sigil or a pentagram on the back of this, because pentagrams are for protection. Also, think about that man 100 years from now opening this jar and being like, devil sign. That's my favorite thing about pentagrams, is everybody thinks it's the devil.
Right. Because it was appropriated by the Satanists, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Which I've been reading some stuff on Satanism lately. I had no idea Satanists are, I'm not crossing over to Satanism, but are so cool. They're so
Yeah.
cool. Even like the ideals of
That's
Satanism,
funny.
I'm like, oh my God, this is, maybe sign me up, but no. I don't want any, I'm not religious at all. Okay. So you get your little petition in here. I forgot to draw a pentagram on it. It would look cooler. And now if you've done the bath, which you don't have to do, but if you've done the bath, you want to stand up, dip this petition in your tub with all these ingredients that you liked to bathe in for protection purposes.
Mhm.
And now we're going to get weird. You're going to pee on your petition. And I do this just in the tub. I do this regularly. And then you want to pee in the jar. Now, if you're mega hardcore and you're using a Luna cup, you can be dumping your menstrual blood in this jar for 3 to 7 days if you're unlucky. And I
7
only,
days is a long period.
it's awful. It's awful. And
That's
mine
long.
are very regular right now because of stress and all the horrible vibrations. But yes, put your menstrual blood in it. Why not? And your pee, which honestly, God, I mean, like, yeah, if you're really doing this, do it, So, I was asking my mom if she had any food coloring. She has no idea what I was using it for. And she goes, use my jar of beet juice. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to pour beet juice in just imagine, you guys have imaginations. And pee is so powerful. If you are one of the people who do not produce menstrual blood, your pee is more powerful than other people's pee. The people who do produce menstrual blood, like your body is sending all these things all the time through it. You got chakras blazing. Your urine is powerful. Use it. I peed on a guy's car once after he broke up with me. He texted me the next day. We hadn't spoken in like 2 weeks. I mean, I'm realizing. It's effective. I did it with intent. You have to do it with intent.
Yes.
You want
Yeah, right,
something,
yeah.
pee on it. I peed on
Yeah.
that land, but when I made an offer and then I peed on it, and the following week they accepted my offer. So yeah, pee is magical. I'm really trying to talk you into this pee. So this is great. If you have like a coworker who's bullying you, or just, like your ex's new partner is hating on you and you can feel them looking at your social, if you want to keep negative eyes and attention off of you, this is perfect. You can also add cayenne pepper, black salt, 4 thieves vinegar, like to push someone away if there's actually a person in particular you want to push out. But you don't really have to. You're also going to feel it out, and you can Google other things. There are tons of ingredients that are going to make you feel safe. So after you get all this in here, you want to put your lid on. Like, am I forgetting anything? You put your lid on, and you want to burn. Now, if you get really into this, burn a candle on top of it every night on your altar. Some nights you're going to feel like it's ready to go elsewhere, and you can put it under your bed and charge it while you sleep. And I do this for a full moon cycle. So I do this starting with the full moon, and then and you can time it with the new moon. Like, let's say you burn a candle on it until the new moon, then after the new moon, sleep with it under your bed. That works very well too. After, or the night of the next full moon, after a month, you take this. You want to really think about, I personally feel empowered by burying mine near my bedroom window. So if you only have a potted plant, like, put it there. If you want to go whole hog with this, which I totally suggest, you can do the tips of a pentagram. Imagine a pentagram across your property. You can do the 4 corners, north, south, east, west, very powerful. And then just drive these little coffin nails in between. Yeah. And this is something, after you do it, try not to, you're not going to have luck if you are someone who's holding a lot of seances. You're only going to be able to call on ancestors. You're not going to get as many ghosts. But if you're not really good at magic yet and know your stuff about seances, don't have them in anyway. Don't have them. Don't play with Ouija boards. You have to, that's also a whole bunch of protection that needs to go into that too. But once you lock down your stuff, you might find that, like, ghosts that were hanging around are no longer hanging around. What can get in are your spirit guides, your healthy ancestors, your angels, your power animals, everybody who works for you and with you. You still can conjure deities, but negativity, bad spirits, all that other stuff now has a property line that it has to respect.
I love that. The
Thank
witch
you.
jar 101.
I love them. I can't recommend them enough.
Yes.
Never open it, because especially if you put blood in it, it really stinks.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So once you close it, that's it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be done. Don't
Yeah.
go digging it up and changing your petition either. It's done.
Right.
Preferably. Oh, I was going to say this too. Because I buried all of mine except one under these rose bushes. So now these rose bushes will have the spirit of protection for me. And now it's sort of like I have to honor these plants because they are now allies.
Oh.
If you can, I highly recommend planting some special stuff over them.
Okay. So when we were first talking about doing a protection spell and doing this episode, the first thing that came to my mind is this new spirit that I got in the mail called Kleos. And if you could see, it has that Greek like evil eye on it.
Yes!
Can you see that? Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So it's from Greece, and I know the founder, and she sent this bottle to me, and it's mostly available on the East Coast and throughout Europe, and she's going to have distribution on the West Coast soon. But it's a mastia spirit. You've probably heard of mastic, like mastic gum, and it's made from this substance that's only found in Greece. And what is mastia? Let's talk about it a little bit. It's a resin secreted from the trunk and branches of the mastia tree.
Nice.
So gum has been made from it. This specific tree can be found only in one place in the entire world, the Greek island of Chios, located in the Aegean Sea, a stone's throw from Turkey. So it's a really ancient ingredient and has been used in medicine for hundreds and hundreds of years. And this is the first mastia spirit of its kind. It's really interesting. It's on the sweeter side. It almost has a liqueur quality to it. And I thought it worked really beautifully with a mezcal. And mezcal, we've talked about on our Instagram. We haven't talked about on the show at all. But, I mean, there's so much magic in mezcal. The Mahuel is the Aztec fertility goddess of the maguey plant, also known as the agave, which is what mezcal is made from. Ancient peoples rubbed its milky sap on babies' lips for nourishment. They also fermented it into a pulque, which they drank in religious ceremonies. Now mezcal is the term for all agave spirits, comprised of tequila, sotol, mezcal, bacanora, and so I thought these two together would be really beautiful. The sort of the evil eye, I thought, really represented protection. So that whole idea of evil eye is so interesting because the Greeks aren't the only ones who subscribe to this idea. You can find the evil eye mentioned in ancient Greek and Roman texts, and there's famous literary where it's in the Bible, the Quran, even Shakespeare's plays had mention of the evil eye. And across a lot of the world, like a lot of the culture, over 40% of them believe in some form of the evil eye in the world, according to a folklorist, John Roberts. So it's a really common thread, you know, when there's like that, you know, there's all of these sort of same religious echoes around the world. There's something to that, right? And so the evil eye, so this was created to ward off the evil eye. So it's like a mirror. It's like in a way, it's protecting you by reflecting back that negative energy and not absorbing it.
Yep, just like the shards of glass in a witch jar. Yeah.
Right, the mirror. So, and then as you mentioned, we are using thyme, which has a lot of protective elements and bravery, and pink grapefruit, and then also the sea salt, which is like the purification part of it too. So I'll just make this cocktail real quick. We do a 2-to-1, so 2 ounces of the mezcal, 1 ounce of the Kleos. And we're just going to use the thyme as a garnish in this.
I love
And
this cherry.
yeah, and so this was like one of the first sort of iterations of the cocktail when Effie, who's the founder of Cleo's, first sent it to me, and it was so good. The one thing that I thought was missing when I first made it was salt, and then I put it back in the tin and I shook it, and it made all the difference. It really like made all the flavors pop. The pink grapefruit is so beautiful in this. Grapefruit and agave always goes really well together. And then this thyme is from my friend Esther's garden, community garden here in LA in Silver Lake, that we just foraged yesterday.
Aw, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it was so nice. I've been craving like that digging in the dirt. Like you're in Florida and you've got, you're on your mom's and your brother's property, and you have, it sounds like you have been gardening yourself, which has been I've been wanting that in my life since this whole lockdown, right?
Yeah. I know. I'm planting a full-on witch garden, and she's not totally aware of it. I'm like, I wish so badly I could have a deadly nightshade garden, of all the
right. Oh my God. Well, you get too many animals for that. But, right.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to do just a pinch of the salt in here, and I just squoze half grapefruits.
Let's get slow started.
Yeah, and then I put some ice in here already, so we're just going to shake it. And I'm just going to use the ice in here, so I'm not going to strain it. And we'll just do that. Ooh, and then it's perfect. Look at that.
So good.
Look how pretty that is. And then we're just going to garnish it with this. I know, it's a little early. A little early.
I'm 3 hours ahead.
You are. It's 10. It's like almost 11 o'clock here.
My new quarantine thing is have a drink, read a book, accidentally nap.
Oh my God. And this smells so good. This thyme is just starting to flower right now. So it's definitely in season. And
it's beautiful.
Look how pretty.
It's so pretty. Yes.
Oh my God. So good. And because the Cleos has some sweetness to it, you don't need any sugar in this. Ooh. So normally I would use maybe like a simple syrup or an agave syrup, but you don't need any of that because that Cleos has enough of sweetness, and the pink grapefruit for that matter. There's a lot of sweetness in there. But each of the ingredients in here echoes your protection jar, your witch jar, and is also representing running. Oh my God, I'm having a hard time talking. It's representing protection, and which is what we need right now: bravery, protection, honoring the dead, and also letting go of the past. Right?
Yes,
that's a big part of what we're needing to do right now.
Yes. So it'll be easier as soon as all these retrogrades wrap up. I mean,
yes. When does that happen?
I think in October they're officially all done.
Oh, geez, that's a long time, man.
I know. I had a very realistic dream about one of my exes last night, and I woke up and I was like, "What the hell was that?" And I was like, "All right, Venus is retrograding."
Oh my God. Well, you know what? We'll continue to take to the streets and make witch jars and protective cocktails, and band together and honor each other until then.
Yeah. Let's get it done. It's looking good. I mean, it's like, what is this? But yeah, it's looking, I'm still just like stunned by the world. And how about Twitter? And how about TikTok? And how about these people brave enough to pull their phones out? I mean, there is stuff that we never thought we'd see happening.
Right. We're documenting it. We're holding people accountable, right? Yeah. We're documenting it. This stuff has been happening forever. Nothing's new, but but we're now, waking up the rest of the world to it.
Yeah. And that was the big thing too. The big prediction with these retrogrades is that society gets a reform. We are going to break down and redesign a lot of the ways we've been doing things, which I did not know what that would look like. I said this on my podcast, This Is Where the Magic Happens. I just said this like 2 weeks before the shit hit the fan. I was like, violence is coming and the whole world's about to change. And I had no idea what it was going to look like. But yay.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fine, everybody. It's just the awakening. It's just the awakening. No big deal.
So you can find directions and ingredients and all the things that we're mentioning here in our show notes, and we'll be posting on social media too. So make sure to follow our YouTube channel and our Instagram and Facebook. If you want to join a group on Facebook with Conjure the Cocktail, we're just starting that out. So
come on and talk about your Luna cups, whatever you want. It's a safe space. It's private. I actually have a question I will be posting about a Luna cup. I'm like,
so stay tuned.
To the masses. Yes. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe. Prior, you want to give them the tagline?
Don't drink like a basic witch. Cheers.